Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sue on Chat to Sue, a channel where we talk about things that we really need to talk about with our children, with our families, with our parents, and society as a whole. I've put a disclaimer. If you get triggered in any way, please seek help. These nowadays when you switch on news or your TV or a computer, there's something going on with a child or a woman that's been killed, and that's really a concern. Because now we feel unsafe, right? And this is traumatizing for everybody, right? So as a country, we are in this state of trauma all the time, right? They flee, fight, and freeze type mode because you don't know what to do, right? And we need to get ourselves there. Hence, we need to communicate about these things. We need to teach our kids to talk to us about anything that they find really unsettling, right? Well, today's topic is on psychopaths. Psychopaths are the worst, right? They are the ones that go out there and kill. They have no remorse or empathy. They are driven by power and dominance. They want to dominate you. If you are in a relationship with them and you push back, they will go for you without any means of empathy whatsoever. You could be lying next to that kind of a person sobbing because you hurt or something happened, your dog died or whatever, you're going through something. They will not have any kind of empathy towards you, right? So I've got a couple of videos, one from SABC and the other from MediCycle, just to explain to us what really is going on with psychopaths. Let's hear what they say.
Back, as we've been saying, this is a special edition, a special hour of The Full View on SABC News dedicated to covering South Africa's femicide crisis. Women in the country saying they've begged, they've pleaded, and they feel there is absolutely no part of this country where they are not at risk of either being raped or murdered. The murder recently of Olorato Mongale, whose body was dumped in Lombardy West, was a reminder of just how unsafe it is to be a woman in South Africa. She was picked up to go on a date in Johannesburg in broad daylight and never returned home, never made it home alive. 2019, recall the story of Uinene Mkhwetyana, a young student in Cape Town. She went to a post office to pick up a parcel, only to be murdered by a man who worked at that very post office. Let's take this discussion further. Bring in gender-based violence activist Lebora Mafoko, the Deputy Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Tebello Musikidi, and Olorato Mongale's family spokesperson, Criselda Kananda. My thanks to you all, ladies. Thank you.
Dating someone new, it always begins with a first impression. But even if it's the best first impression of all time, how will the relationship look if that person is a clinical psychopath? How much can you read from that first impression, really? Here to tell you how to spot the signs of a psychopath when it comes to dating, relationships, and yes, sex, it's Dr. Seth Meyers. Dr. Meyers, what is a psychopath?
So a psychopath is someone who would test positive on a psychology test called the Psychopathy Checklist Revised, which was developed by someone named Robert Hare. So it is a specific psychological measure that includes many different areas of a person's functioning in life that will help assess, does this person have psychopathic traits? A lot of people use the term sociopath, thinking that is an appropriate term. I've spent years getting educated and training in psychopathy to get to the point where I understand sociopath is not a clinical term. When people use that, what they're referring to is antisocial personality disorder. So antisocial personality disorder is a personality disorder that means someone doesn't show guilt, remorse. They have several factors that make relationships and functioning in their life overall difficult. Someone who is a full-blown psychopath is even more severe than that. So again, they would need to be tested by something we call the PCL or the PCLR, and there are several hallmarks. One of them is something we call callous disregard. So in their relationships with others, they show a callousness. They show a callous disregard. They don't really care about others' feelings, but it's not like an angry, defensive way of not caring. It's, they just, like, it just doesn't compute, you know? So they show a callous disregard. They don't show remorse. They are impulsive. They are hostile. They can be very aggressive. Note that, however, psychopaths are not always necessarily murderers. You can have someone who is a psychopath who extorts millions of dollars in a banking scheme from someone. I'm not naming any names here, but there are psychopaths of all different kinds. But at the end of the day, they don't care about exploiting others because all they care about is meeting their own needs.
I've talked to other doctors about psychopaths, and even in this example, I hear them being referred to as men most often. Are there more men who are psychopaths than women?
The research that we have on psychopaths is usually based on studies that have been conducted among incarcerated individuals. So we get those data sets from jails, from prisons, and whatnot. So yes, the research says more males are psychopaths than females. What I would say is that there are more female psychopaths than we probably currently believe. Nobody thinks of a woman as a psychopath. Plus, when you think about the way men and women are socialized, boys are socialized to go get it on the football field. Girls are socialized to play nicely with the other girls, you know? So at the end of the day, males and females are both human beings and have a lot of the same central elements.
Absolutely. Let's talk about a hypothetical scenario. I'm at a party and somebody approaches me to start flirting with me, and they are a psychopath, but obviously I do not know this. What does that flirting look like?
Here are signs in a social setting that this person may be a psychopath. So they flatter you. They don't just flatter you, you look great. It is excessive flattery. They can't make you feel any better. They may make you feel like there is this connection between the two of you. It's, who knows where it's from? It's like I've known you my whole life. They may try to ask you very personal questions that feel a little too personal for a first or second meeting. Now, the person may think they're doing this, that's a sign they're really interested, they really care. Actually, what they're doing is trying to get a sense of what makes you tick, trying to get a sense of your weaknesses and vulnerabilities, because later they will use that to their advantage. So the psychopath is motivated above all else by power. Life is a chess game. They are perpetrators, and they are going to win. There's no equality or intimacy with psychopaths. They couldn't care less. It's a game. They can be ruthless, and they will win.
And they love to play it.
They don't know any other way.
That's the only option. There are no options. Wow. But how would I know, though, if I'm being hit on by a psychopath or somebody that just maybe had 3 margaritas and really thinks, they're going to go for it?
So when you ask that question, you're not taking into account, Kyle, the actual instincts you have that would be at work, right? So let me give you an example. I could say something to you after just meeting you, having a couple drinks with you. I could say something like, you are one of the most beautiful people I've seen in my whole life. That wouldn't feel right?
Well, that's weird.
Yeah. Where if I'd been like, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
That feels more normal. The way I said it, it makes you feel like it's like a line from a movie.
Right.
It's like they studied it. They're saying the words, but you're not feeling an emotion match up with it. So that is the most important point for the audience to take away. No matter the specifics or the mechanics in the interaction, something about the interaction left you feeling a little unsettled or a little bit distrusting.
Then why do people not follow that gut and intuition and say, man, this guy does flatter me, I'm going to go for it?
Because the people who end up falling prey to the psychopath, they're in a vulnerable place in their life. They're lonely. They have started to question whether anybody really could ever be attracted to them. Maybe they feel too old, too fat. A lot of psychopaths will prey on the elderly, will prey on wealthy individuals, will prey on sad, depressed, lonely, isolated individuals. They make great targets, like any of us, when our defenses are down, when we are not in a place in our lives where we feel really good about ourselves, across the board, we're all more likely to make bad decisions.
Or does a psychopath use sex for power rather than for sexual gratification?
So sex and the psychopath, it's a very unique dynamic compared to anyone else and the relationship they have with sex. So when a psychopath has sex, it's not for the same reasons. For example, the research shows, as a rule, psychopaths tend to be more promiscuous. They tend to have more and shorter romantic relationships. Psychopaths will be motivated to have sex for any of the following reasons. Boredom, because psychopaths, their central nervous systems seek the thrill, the rush. So psychopaths may seek sex, no matter if they're married or whatever, because they need the rush to defend against the boredom. Psychopaths may pursue sex as a means of getting something. The person they're having sex with, they know has a nice place. And the psychopath doesn't have a place. So the psychopath might want to move into that place. So it's always for a reason. It's often boredom, it's for power, it's for money, it's for a housing situation. It's always for a purpose.
Oh, wow. That is very scary. Women in this country feel so unsafe. And we kind of like need to equip ourselves with knowledge and know where to look for the red flags, right? The love bombing kind of like sweeps everything under the carpet. You don't see the red flags unless you know what you're looking for. So please note that the videos, both of them, are quite long, so I've cut them. I will put the links on the description below if you want to watch the whole thing. And let's learn to identify those red flags, right? Look at them and understand, okay, this is a red flag that I don't want to deal with, right? And let's just talk to our children as well, both boys and girls, right? Because right now, both genders are being trafficked, and it's quite alarming, right? But yeah, let's equip ourselves with knowledge. Thank you so much for your support. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm sending you so much love, so much healing, so much light, and so much safety. Let's safeguard ourselves. Sending you much love. Bye.